You remember last year with the COVID-19 pandemic, there was an increase in teenage pregnancies.
Yes.
And what happened is that, a lot of stakeholders came together. They wanted to support the case, the cause. There was also a lot of media publicity.
Hey everybody, my name is Angie Murenga. You're watching Just Angie. It's Lifestyle Thursday, one of the segments that you really, really love. And I'm so grateful that you really appreciate gaining insights into people's lives and how people are living different lives and how we can live a different life and improve our life and our lifestyles. So today I have an amazing team, but they're a bigger team. So I think they'll introduce themselves and then introduce the team, and then we're going to introduce the topic, which is around teenage pregnancies. So karibuni sana.
Thank you very much.
It's so good to have you here. It really, really is.
We're honored. We're honored to be here.
I'm honored too. And I was thinking, I'm very proud. I'm like, wow, these are hallelujah. I've done really well. I'm so happy. If I do say so myself. Yeah, I stop puffing myself up. So you are the Ecclesia of Helps.
Yes.
So you're part of the sector ecclesias that we have within the ministry. You're, I think, 6 of you. Are you 6 or 5?
We're 6.
You're 6 of you. So your leader is Caroline Menya, who's in the Netherlands. So big shout out to Caroline, which was amazing because she's led you for 2 or 3 years and you only met her recently.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's also very profound. But you can introduce yourselves, then we'll mention a few of the other people, and then we'll start with the why.
Okay.
Why you chose the subject that you did.
Okay.
Karibuni.
Asante.
My name is Shellmith Mugo. I'm an economist, and I have a calling towards the vulnerable in the society. And thank you, Apeptanji, for having us.
You're so welcome.
I am Ndeeri, and I have a heart for children and orphans, and I have a vision of having homes where children who are orphaned can grow up in healthy family settings. Thank you. Thank you very much, Apept.
Amen. And remember when I put you together, one of the things I'm remembering, or do you want to mention your other members? So there's Caroline?
Yes, we have Caroline Menya, we have Joy Kulola, we have Sheila, and we have Sandra. Yes, Sandra Mwangi.
So you're six women.
6, yes.
I love the way that they came together because, me, I was just doing what I do. I sit, I write, I got downloads. So there was this helps department and there were 6. So some of the groups have men and women, some groups are all women.
Yes.
And it's just like how God has ordained it. And I remember when I put together the helps, you guys were wondering, what is this all about? But it's actually in the Bible, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's actually in the Bible, but you were all wondering what? But I think all of you have a calling to vulnerability, to solving the vulnerable, to meeting vulnerable needs, so whether it's widows, orphans, children.
Exactly.
And now there was this teenage. So everybody was tasked, every ecclesia was tasked to do a webinar. And you came up with a subject of teenage pregnancies. So today I wanted to ask why. And maybe you could answer the why question. You could also answer what your understanding is of the Ecclesia of Helps, or even how you were like, what is this? And how do we go about this? Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Apeptanji. So we asked ourselves the same question, who are the helps, But when we dug deeper, we discovered that these are people who have a heart, for the less fortunate, the underprivileged, the poor, the vulnerable in society. And we knew, that through our individual visions, that this is the place where we wanted to be. Wow. So when we had the webinar back in April, we chose the topic of teenage pregnancies because who better to represent the future generation other than these girls who are also now bringing up other babies, So these are children bringing up children, and we need to find a way to help them to, just to carry them through the process. Yes.
And your answer to that question?
Yeah, actually, when we were thinking as a group, you remember last year with the COVID-19 pandemic, there was an increase in teenage pregnancies.
Yes.
And what happened is that, a lot of stakeholders came together. They wanted to support the case, the cause. There was also a lot of media publicity. But what we realized is that there's usually an elastoclast approach. What happens is anytime there's that slight increase, the stakeholders come together, but there is no sustainable solution. So as a group, we were thinking, what way can we contribute towards a sustainable solution, towards assisting the teenage pregnant girls, and also one way or another, reducing the numbers of the teenage pregnancies in the country. That's why we thought of teenage pregnant girls.
Yes. And like you talk about vulnerable, because you talked about vulnerable, and I just thought we're actually in a time where there's so much vulnerability. really, it's like I'm wondering when I look around me, I'm like, is it that the vulnerability has increased or has my awareness increased? Because it's like there are a lot of vulnerable people because of, I think, the COVID-19 pandemic and the disruption and what it comes with it. I think also time, we're evolving, we're growing, so things are changing. I think also not having the village to raise up a child could be part of the problem, because we used to be brought up so close-knit. Everybody knew what you were doing and then everybody was in everybody's business. As we just used to see an adult, we know drama has come. You don't even have to know their name. But now I think those are the issues that are causing more of these like teenage pregnancies and vulnerable situations to rise up in the economy. So how do you want to address that? What do you want to? How do you want to weigh in?
One thing I'd like to add to what you're saying is it is true. Society has broken down, and it's no longer this is the extended family and these are the people who are looking after the children. But we're sort of like in our own isolated places. Especially, I mean, COVID has brought it out clearly, but it's been there for very many years, So I have my family, someone else has their family. You have no idea what's going on. You don't know what the problems are. People don't talk about anything anymore, And I think that isolation just leads people to just, a lot of activity, which if it was brought out, it could be addressed. But now it's not being addressed.
And do you think, before Shellmith answers, or even Shellmith, you can add it to your answer, is it that, because by the time a teenage girl gets pregnant, what's happening? Is it she has nobody to talk to? Or are we getting more experimental and more brave? Because me, I even thought just kissing a guy, I'd become pregnant. A boy. What? Fear? Fear. Fear was put in me properly. So is it that we're not putting this fear? What is going on? What is also contributing to the rise in the teenage pregnancies?
You see the exposure that the children usually
That's
have.
another thing.
From when they were young, most of them with all these gadgets, they are seeing a lot from when they are very young. And most of them, there are no controls in even these gadgets. So from when they're even 5 years old, the things they're exposed to. So they start experimenting with those things from when they're very young. And most of the time, they're not talking with the adults, they're talking with their peers. And what are they talking about? They're talking about sex and what is happening. And that's the problem.
And even the other day, I don't know who I was talking to. I think it's Eric. And then he said even games, it was the media ecclesia. So they said that when kids are playing games, could be they can be at a link to a link to a link to a link. You're just going down a rabbit hole. You just left the child playing this video game. Watch the link start popping up. It can take the child to somewhere else. So you really have to sit there and be focused on what is happening. Because other things can begin to pop up and they begin to now influence them and shape their world. When they told you exposure is something. Because us guys, we had TV at 5 o'clock. Those lines used to come, those color rainbow lines. I think it was even Voice of Kenya, Yaliyotokea, and to bed. I remember once wanted to watch Love Boat. My dad told us love is not for us. That was the end of that conversation. Moving on swiftly. So what are the statistics like?
Okay, when you look at the statistics, like for the 15 to 19 years old, 53 out of 1,000 of those girls are getting pregnant. And those are the latest statistics. For the less than 15 years old...
They are less than 15?
Yeah, they are less than 15. We have an average of 45,000 girls getting pregnant every year. And these 45,000 on average from around 2016 to 2019. Wow. And these statistics are not conclusive.
Because we don't have all the data.
Because we don't have all the data, and some girls don't go to the hospitals. Those are health statistics. So those are worrying statistics. And around 13,000 girls drop out of school because of teenage pregnancies. And we know the link between education and just the issues of decision making and the livelihoods of
even improving our lives, lifestyle, your life.
So I think those are very worrying statistics, and I think all of us, one way or another, we need to come in and do something about the teenage pregnancies.
Okay. Yes. We're out of time, but I wanted to weigh in maybe a last comment that you have before we go on to next week into our next video.
What I would like to say is that it is a huge issue. It's a huge topic. It's something that it's high time that we started talking about teenage pregnancies and bringing it out. This is not the time to silence anybody. This is the time to offer support and growth, to the teenage pregnant girls and their families.
Wow. Maybe as a last question, what does somebody do as a parent if they find that their teenage daughter is pregnant? In this world, in our world, you are dead. Yeah, my parents, that generation, what? But it's a whole different generation.
Yes.
What would you advise them to do?
For me, I'll say support them.
What does support look like, Shellmith?
Support looks like, number one, offer courage and comfort and ensure that they give birth, and also one way or another help them to take care of that child.
Okay.
Yes, that one is very important because we have so many suicide cases from the teenage pregnant girls. Yeah, and it's because of that. Most of the time they are ostracized by even their family members. So it's important just to take them in and encourage them until they give birth. They can even go back to school. We have a return to school.
Yes, return to school.
Yeah,
I know we're going to
policy.
talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's important.
Yes.
Lucy?
What I would like to say is that we need to extend grace, you know? I mean, something has happened, but you need to let her know that life can continue. So you need to embrace her, because I'm sure she already feels like, you know, life has ended, but it has not ended. So extend grace, extend love, talk to her, just embrace her. I think that's all she would need at that point in time.
I'm sure, I hope in one of the videos we can discuss, because I think I'd blame myself as well, just because of who I am, I just blame myself. And then I remember, don't do this, you don't do the things I do. But I used to throw it out there. I used to tell her, let me tell you, the village is where you will be.
Yeah.
Do you think about village life? You, 3 stones, fetching water at the river? That is you. Me, I am not raising any children. For me, I told her, next stop is the village. By yourself, figure it out. Me, done. So I did it. It was, don't do, like I say, support. You've had support, comfort, love. It's a different generation. So join us next week, next Thursday, as we continue this amazing conversation. God bless you. Bye-bye. Say bye.
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 Thank you.